We know, of course, that he doesn't like the leader of North Korea very much, refers to him as
No.
Little Rocket Man. Little Rocket Man appears to be supplying mercenaries in quite substantial numbers to Russia. I would imagine Trump will be onto that one very quickly.
I think so. He was last time. Even there, though, he confounded the left. The left started out saying that he was too mean, he was too reckless when he said, "My button's bigger than yours." He came in where North Korea was just being a very useful bulldog that the China master cut loose and caused havoc, and then China kind of chuckled about it. And when they started threatening to send missiles into the West Coast, Trump was alarmed and said, "I have a bigger button than you do, and we can do the same thing to you, and ours will work." He said, "Ours will work." The left went crazy, and then he did what everybody who read any of his books or followed his career knew he would do. He wrote a letter to North Korea and said, "This is not in your interest to be on the wrong side of my administration. I'm willing to talk." They talked. And then he did exactly what he wrote about in his books. He said, "I like Mr. Kim Jong-un. We can cut a deal." I didn't find him to be a monster. If you read anything he wrote about, that's what he always said. When you make a deal, you do not insult your opposition. And then when you make the deal, you make sure you get an advantage. And then after the deal is over, you do not privately ridicule him, but you praise him to the skies. And that's exactly what he does. So I would imagine that he would tell Kim Jong-un in stage one, what you're doing is unacceptable. If you keep doing it, it's going to end badly for you. Then stage two is, I'm willing to make a deal, and then make some kind of deal, and then praise Kim Jong-un. And that's where the left came in and said, look at this, he's praising a dictator, even though they had just told us that he's deliberately antagonizing a dictator. They had no idea the modus operandi of how he works, but it was working. And it worked with Putin, and it worked with Xi, and we didn't have a war, and it worked with the radical Islamicists. As soon as he did this, he said Iran is an outlaw nation. He killed Soleimani. No one even dared to do that. He bombed the crap, he said, out of ISIS. And then Iran called him up and said, "You've made us look ridiculous." And Trump said, "Well, I'm about ready to hit you." And they said, "Can we send 16 or 17 missiles over to you in Iraq and Syria and get close to your base? We'll tell you the time and the location, put everybody in, and it'll save it." So he said, "Yeah, as long as you don't kill one American. If you kill one American, we're going to send a salvo." So there's some disagreement. The military felt some people suffered shell shock from the Iranians basically did what they said they were going to do. It was a Potemkin attack. And then Trump didn't cause a war, but Iran behaved. And then he put sanctions on him. And yet they criticized him for that. They said he was provoking a war with Iran. And then when Iran didn't do anything and backed down, then they said, well, they sent missiles in and he didn't reply to them. He didn't care about America. So we got to the point, whatever he did, they were going to criticize, but it all had utility. And they haven't come up with any formula or solution that improved on his own. And as soon as he left, the world fell apart. It really did.